Lyndon Baines Johnson came to Washington as a congressional aide and a fervent supporter of Franklin Roosevelt and the New Deal. The experience fueled the ambitions of the Texas Democrat, and by 1955, he was one of the most powerful congressmen on Capitol Hill. Johnson's personality served him well in politics. Complex and contradictory, he swung from the heights of idealism and generosity to the depths of duplicity and petty cruelty. Whether loved or hated, it was agreed that he was a force of nature. His homespun, profanity-laced remarks often cloaked his sharp intelligence, but it was all a part of the Texan's rough-hewn charm. In 1960, Johnson joined the Democratic ticket as John F. Kennedy's vice presidential running mate. But the legislative giant grew dispirited, living in the president's shadow. He resented the administration's East Coast intellectuals and tangled constantly with the president's brother and Attorney General, Bobby Kennedy. Discouraged, Johnson told an aide, "My future is behind me." Then came Dallas. President Kennedy's assassination gave Johnson the office he desperately wanted to win. As deep grief and rumors of conspiracy swirled around Washington, the new president sought to reassure the nation.
The greatest leader of our time has been struck down by the foulest deed of our time. No words are sad enough to express our sense of loss. No words are strong enough to express our determination to continue the forward thrust of America that he began.
In fact, Johnson planned to move far beyond the late president. He was confident that, as president, he could deliver what Kennedy had only promised. "I will pass everything that Kennedy failed to do. Where Kennedy failed, I will succeed. I will out-Kennedy Kennedy." Johnson was determined to leave his own great legacy. His sweeping vision for America was influenced by the experiences of his childhood. Growing up poor in rural Texas, the president identified with those in need. He would use the government's laws and money to create what he called the Great Society.
The Great Society rests on abundance and liberty for all. It demands an end to poverty and racial injustice, to which we're totally committed in our time.
He faced his greatest challenge almost immediately: civil rights. African Americans were demanding equality, and the movement could no longer be contained. Johnson brought his passion and political acumen to the cause. He once said the only power he had was the power to persuade. One aide noted, "That's like saying the only wind we have is a hurricane." He encouraged congressmen, cajoled the press, and pushed his former colleagues to get behind the bill.
The Civil Rights Bill now before Congress is a far-reaching step in the direction of equality.
Within a year, Johnson achieved his goal: the most sweeping civil rights legislation since Reconstruction. Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It was a major advancement toward racial equality.
We believe that all men are entitled to the blessings of liberty, yet millions are being deprived of those blessings, not because of their own failures, but because of the color of their skin. But it cannot continue. Our Constitution, foundation of our republic, forbids it. The principles of our freedom forbid it. Morality forbids it. and the law I will sign tonight forbids it.
The law barred discrimination on the basis of race, religion, national origin, or gender, and banned the practice of segregation in schools, public places, and employment. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission was created to oversee fairness in employment. It gave the law teeth. But in many areas, literacy tests and other forms of discrimination still prevented African Americans from voting. Johnson put an end to this with the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Accept appointment to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Johnson further championed civil rights in 1967 with the appointment of Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, and the selection of Robert Weaver as the first African-American to hold a presidential cabinet position.